Indeed, I will continue to have a role in that. The Secretary of State will have a role in that as well as we go forward. But what we need to ascertain first is where we can ensure that we can secure the support of this House for a deal, and then take that forward to the European Union.
Vincent Cable.
Could I also welcome the free waiver and also welcome the Prime Minister's willingness to engage in serious conversations, including about the merits and the practicalities of a people's vote. But can I ask a specific question? At the end of last week, the Secretary of State for Defence put 3,500 troops on Brexit standby. Could she clarify what their rules of engagement would be in the event that they faced angry and violent demonstrators? And would they be armed?
Can I say to the right honourable gentleman that it is of course right that the government is taking the necessary contingency arrangements for the situation. I think what he will find is what we're talking about is those troops perhaps being able to relieve others who are undertaking roles such as guarding of certain sites. That's what we're talking about.
Sir William Cash.
Mr. Speaker, on the vital issue of UK tax policy, will my right honourable friend also reconsider the provisions under which the United Kingdom will embrace EU state aid rules, with the European Commission actually supervising our Competition and Markets Authority, and which gives the Commission a veto over future tax incentives for investment developments such as free ports, airports, industrial and enterprise zones?
Say to my honourable friend that if he looks back on the discussions that have taken place in the European Union, he will see that it has often been the United Kingdom that has been promoting fair competition across the United Kingdom, including in relation to state aid rules. The question of those state aid rules and what will be included in any future trade agreement that we have with the European Union is of course a matter that will be looked at in detail in the next stage of negotiations.
Yvette Cooper.
The Prime Minister seems to be talking as if she lost by 30 votes, not 230 votes. She says now she wants to give Parliament a say on the political declaration and the future partnership, but to be honest, we've heard all of this before. If she's serious, why not give Parliament a say before we finish the Article 15 negotiations, not after? Why not put to Parliament some votes on her red lines, including a customs union? Otherwise, how can any of us believe a word she says?
As I've set out, the correct process, which is provided for under the legislation, is that there will be a neutral motion next week, which will be amendable. There will be members across this House who wish to put down motions which may reflect different views across the House in relation to different matters. We will, of course, continue to work, and when the right honourable gentleman, the Leader of the Opposition, said that we were denying any democratic involvement in the process of, well, he says from a sedentary position, yes, we were. Actually, no, there is still, even when we get the support of this House for a deal, there will still be the process of legislating to ensure that that deal is put in place, and the role that this House will play in that legislation.
Boris Johnson.
Can I congratulate my right honourable friend on her decision to waive the registration fee for EU nationals? I think will be very welcome, and also on her determination now to go back to Brussels and fix the backstop, because I think that is the way forward. But can she confirm that in so doing she will now seek legally binding change to the text of that backstop and to the text of the withdrawal agreement itself?
Say to my right honourable friend, what we are doing is exploring with members across this House the nature of any movement on the backstop that would secure the support of this House. There are a number of options that have been raised with us by members across the House. We need to look at those and continue to talk with colleagues, both those who have raised it from the backbenches on this side of the House and those who have raised this issue with from the benches opposite, particularly, obviously, our confidence and supply partners. There are a number of options. We will look to see what is going to secure the support of the House.
Mr. Nigel Dodds.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And can I join with the Prime Minister in her words about the despicable and reckless attack in Londonderry at the weekend, carried out by Republican terrorists, of course, who are responsible for the murders of prison officers David Black in 2012 and Adrian Ismay in March 2016. These people have nothing to offer anyone in Northern Ireland and are rejected right across the board. On Brexit, can I thank the Prime Minister for the meetings that we have had in recent days and the good engagement, and for her recognition that there are core issues that need to be sorted out as far as the withdrawal agreement is concerned, her willingness to try and reach a consensus, and the fact that she is going to go back to Brussels and ask for the necessary changes to be made. And can I take it from what the Prime Minister has said that she is really serious now in terms of getting a consensus that can get this through the House with the necessary legal changes to the withdrawal agreement?
Yes, I can give the right honourable gentleman the assurance that obviously what I want to do is to identify the way forward in relation to dealing with the issues that have been raised about the backstop. I referenced the two key issues on its potential permanency and the impact on the Union in my statement, and find the best way, the way that we can resolve those issues that will command support from this House.
Alberto Costa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I take this opportunity to warmly thank the Prime Minister for having listened to the concerns that I and other members have raised on the issue of EU nationals? And can I ask her, given the goodwill that she's shown on this issue, can she please remind the EU of their promises to reciprocate and encourage the EU 27 to remove any fees that they charge to UK citizens in their member states?
I think my honourable friend has raised a very important point. While it's important for us to give that reassurance to EU citizens here, we must also remember the UK citizens living in the EU 27 member states, and we will be pressing them to give the reciprocal commitments to UK citizens living in those member states. There are a number of states that have already said that they committed to various ways that they will provide protection for rights in a no-deal situation. We will continue to press them all to reciprocate.
Hilary Benn.
Thank you very much indeed. Mr. Speaker, last Wednesday the Prime Minister said to the House that she would reach out in order to try and find a way forward from the crisis that is facing our country. But I'm sorry to say that, having listened to her statement this afternoon, while her door may have been open, her mind has remained closed because she has rejected stopping us leaving the EU with no deal, even though she knows it would be disastrous, and she has rejected remaining in a customs union, even though she knows it is essential, an essential contribution to keeping an open border and maintaining friction-free trade. The Brexit Select Committee last Wednesday published a report identifying a number of alternative ways forward and recommended that they be put to the House in a series of indicative votes. Since the Prime Minister has twice this afternoon said, well, what is it that will secure the support of the House? Will she now put those to the vote?
The right honourable gentleman knows that the government will be tabling a neutral motion next Tuesday. That is what is required under the legislation, and that will now be, and that is an amendable motion. But the right honourable gentleman again referenced this issue of rejecting no deal. As I said earlier, if people don't want no deal, there are only two ways to go. And it's no good honourable members from a sedentary position chuntering or shouting about this issue. The sheer facts are that no deal will only be taken off the table by either revoking Article 50, which turns back the result of the referendum, the government will not do that, or by having a deal, and that's what we're trying to work out.
Andrea Jenkins.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Prime Minister, today the Shadow International Trade Secretary visited my constituency and said to the BBC, I quote, "If there is a motion for a second referendum that is put before Parliament, our position and the party is that we would be supporting a public vote." Does the Prime Minister agree with me, and I'm sure many Brexiteers in the north of England, that a second referendum would be a sellout and cause a huge amount of harm to trust in politicians?
I do agree with my honourable friend, because I believe that the British, a lot of people voted for the first time or for the first time in many years in the referendum in 2016. And I think their faith in politicians would be shattered if we failed to deliver on that vote. We have a duty to deliver on that vote in the referendum.
Angela Eagle.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister could reach out by relaxing her own self-imposed red lines, which would include thinking about other solutions such as staying in a customs union, which would deal with the backstop situation. But she seems intent on only trying to get her dead deal through the House by playing chicken with her own Brexiteers and what she calls her confidence and supply partners. So will she, first of all, tell us that she really does want to reach out? And secondly, will she tell the House, if we do amend this motion next Tuesday, will she respect that decision and put it into effect?
I say to the Honourable Lady that, of course, as I've said, it is possible for people to move amendments to the motion next Tuesday. We wanted to sit down with all parties and with different groups across the House, because there are different opinions on these issues in parties across this House, and find out where it is that it will be possible to secure support for a deal, to take that forward, to ensure that we leave with a deal. And but underpinning that, of course, is the importance of us delivering on the referendum. I believe it is a duty for this Parliament to deliver on the referendum, to deliver Brexit, and to deliver a Brexit with a deal.
John Redwood.
A majority of voters in the referendum voted to leave and did not vote to sign a new comprehensive